everyone, I'm Andrea Bendinelli from INVALSI and my colleague Lorenzo again. We are statisticians and try to have a continual work about we try to have work follow to global level the track followed by the cohort of students who completed lower secondary school in 2018 till the end of the 13th grade in the last year. We had a upper grade from the last INVALSI report that we presented in last July, but in this new version we try to replicate the effort region by region, but in a regional way. I mean, try to understand the track inside and outside the school system for this course. So our aim is to shed some light on territorial and geographical variation of school outcome in this country. About this picture, we start from initial cohort in the end of 8th grade in 2018, and we try to follow this cohort in a deterministic way in the upper part of this graph, because we had registry the National School Registry, the Ministry of Education gave us. We have two options in the upper part. They are at school in regular attendance, or they are repeaters. In another way, they are in vocational training administration by school. We call EFP. The most difficult part of this work is to understand where they had gone outside from the school system. So in the 2023 there are many students that is not registered in the anagraphy. Where they had gone, we try to understand for this question. The down part of this graph is not that deterministic, but is more statistics. So we try to estimate that amount thanks to the integration of many data sources like ISTAR data, and to the ISTAR data about the labor market, and another kind of record linkage thanks to the registry of the residents.
It's always from data from.
Okay, the same data, yes. And they help us to understand the amount of immigrated, so the students that go in another city or in another country, the school that had a dropout, we call ELIT, Early Levels Educational and Training. And the most important part of this work is the last part of the graph, to understand the people that went in a vocational training, but not administrated by school, but outside school. We call vocational training, regional vocational training. Okay, I speak about the first two columns because the first two columns is the deterministic part, so it's related to the upper part of the previous graph. To understand the students in each region that is in regular attendance, or if they are repeaters. So we can look that most students in regular attendance is in the south part of the country. In other way, most repeater students is in the northern region of the country, especially in Lombardia, Toscana, and even northeast and northwest. The island is they looks like center part of the Italy, Sicily and Sardinia. The most regular attendance we look in Calabria, Basilicata, Molise, Abruzzo, around 80% of regular attendance. About the gray part of the column is part of estimation models. Lorenzo told us about this estimation, about elite, emigrating, and vocational training out of school.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Andrea. We start the chair. It's easier. Okay, I hope it's clear. We start with 100, okay, which is the initial cohort. This cohort is split by region, and at the end, 5 years later, we have to arrive to 100, in a way or in another. I want to arrive to 100 in a way or in another, okay. The gray part of the table is about quantities that we are not able to measure. We don't have records or administrative data about these quantities. But we know that these quantities exist. It's a matter of reasoning, it's a matter of logic. Because if you are not registered in a school archive, you are emigrated abroad, that's a possibility, very marginal one. You are attending vocational training which is not registered in the ministry records, which is in some regions vocational training financed by regions. Okay, we call it out of school vocational training. Or you are an early leaver from education or training. You have interrupted accumulation of human capital. Okay. But this is very important because there is a misunderstanding on this point. When we speak about school dropouts, sometimes we tend to mix together things which are different. Okay, we are mainly interested in elites, early leavers, but we have to identify elites from our point of view inside a group which is wider, which includes other possibilities, and this inclusion varies by region. This is the point. This is not the real point. The real point is that this inclusion varies by region following a specific geographic pattern. It varies from north to south. Okay, this is the point. This is the real point. At least we think that this is the real point. Obviously we are talking about things that are not measured, that we can measure, that we can't even define in a clear and not arguable way. There's no some definitions are not agreed by everyone. So we are moving in a territory which is very dangerous territory. But we have to thread this territory, and we have to move in, because at the end we want 100. We want to know where they have gone. It's just a matter of curiosity. It's not a standard research question. It's a matter of curiosity, but it's a curiosity which is very important in its implications, not only practical, but even intellectual and research implications. So the gray columns, the one which we tried in a way or another to estimate. Okay. This is an estimate of people, of members of the initial cohort who emigrated abroad. How did we estimate this? According to our estimate, immigration is a very small amount of this code. How did we estimate these quantities? We took data released by Istat, dati sui trasferimenti di residenza, okay? And we used the age of the people who moved abroad as a proxy of we are conscious that these data have problems. There is some noise, but we have to estimate this phenomenon in a way or in another. At least we have to be able to say this is important or it's not important. We think that this is not important. This does not, immigration does not make the difference. Okay, we must search for the difference in another way, in other parts. The second and most delicate part of our estimation exercise. We took microdata from the Istat labor survey, and we tried to estimate ELET rates, okay, by age and by region. Which is a very it's very hard to estimate. I realize that we are at the limits of what we can estimate, but we have to try. We have to try to see what comes out and to think about it. Okay. For reason of robustness, I put together students aged 17 and 18. So I estimated single ELET rates for this age and for region by region. I used different methods. The black points are estimates obtained applying the weights supplied by Istat. Okay, and the segments, which are the confidence interval, is obtained applying the parameters supplied by Istat. So this is an estimate which tries to resemble as much as possible the way Istat produced, treated, and released this data. The red points are estimates obtained applying a regression model, and the green points are estimates obtained applying a multi-level regression model. These are the most conservative estimates, because multi-level models tends to shrink values towards the mean. However, which is the point? The point is that even trying different methods, the result preserves a certain pattern. You can see the same pattern in all estimates. Which is this pattern? There is geographic variation. The rate of ELET students is higher in the north, is lower in the center, and then becomes higher again in the south. Okay, it's not. There is another important point. The official ELET rate for Italy is around 12%. We could not take this rate because we had to estimate the rate of ELET for 18 years old people. Okay, and 12% is an average taken on an age interval which spans from 18 to 24 years old. So an average of 12 means that it's about 9 at 18 years old and about 25 at 24 years old, because ELET rates increase with age. Okay, this is something which we tend not to consider. We had to consider because we had to make this estimation effort on a specific cohort, We were interested in people that were 18 years old when we had to make our estimation. So we had to estimate health rate at 18 years old, which in our estimates is around 9% on average, and which varies according to the region with this pattern. Okay, and the last quantity, which is vocational training, out-of-school vocational training, is obtained by subtraction. I subtract the other quantities that I have measured, those in school, or I have estimated, in order to obtain a result. And this result tells me that out of school vocational training doesn't exist out of the north of Italy. Okay? If I it doesn't exist in the south of Italy, it's only in the north of Italy, okay? I'm sorry. Aiutami.
It's around 0.
No.
Previous.
So, data bella iniziale. Okay, if you look at vocational training, it's close to 0 in the south of Italy, while it becomes very high in the north of Italy. Is it true? I don't know, but I had to arrive to 100. That's the only way to arrive to 100. It's a matter of gradi di libertà, grades of freedom. Okay. Given information, this is the only result which comes out, and it's a potentially very interesting result. Okay, the conclusion. We have as our results suggest a relevant regional heterogeneity in the part of the table without uncertainty. Okay, the regional differences are already present in the black part of the table. We don't have to. We have to estimate the grey part, but we don't have to look at the grey part in order to say that there is a lot of heterogeneity in Italy, geographic heterogeneity. This regional heterogeneity follows a clear geographic pattern, this is important, and geographic heterogeneity challenges some ideas about school gaps in our country. Just I show you the maps that I finished. The first map is the amount of regular students. Okay, you see, much higher in the south of Italy. The second map is the amount of repeaters. It's much higher in the north. Okay, there's a geographic pattern. The red map is the percentage of elites. It's higher in the north and in the south. It's not a pattern. The last map is the amount of out-of-school vocational training. It's only in the north. Okay, I mean, it's like a tangram. It's like a tangram, collection of pieces of woods that you can combine together. What you see depends on how you combine them. But this is a metaphor of our situation. We have different pieces of information. We have to start to try to put them together and try to say, I see a bird. What do you see? I see a cat. Well, let's talk together. Maybe there is something between a bird and a cat which comes closer to the reality. Thank you.